The New South Wales Rural Fire Service has given tourists a 24-hour window to leave the south coast ahead of worsening conditions on Saturday. 50,000 residents there are still without power, forcing supermarkets and petrol stations to remain closed in some areas. Two large fuel tankers arrived at a Caltex in Batemans Bay late last night in a bid to help people refuel and get out of isolated towns. New South Wales Police briefly opened the Princess Highway northbound, allowing stranded holidaymakers to head home. A 50-litre limit per car has been issued due to limited resources. Major supplies, including water, are also low, with people in the area forced to line up for more than 3 hours to get food. The Australian Navy has deployed a vessel to help deal with the looming humanitarian crisis, with a medical team and Taipan helicopter on board. Scenes of devastation and despair are now emerging following the blazes that claimed 7 lives over the past week and destroyed at least 176 properties.
The worst possible start to 2020 for hundreds of homeowners. A trail of destruction after bushfires ravaged the New South Wales south coast, killing 7 people and destroying 176 properties. This is what's left of the main street of Cobargo, a small village of around 1,000 people in the Bega Valley, nearly 400 kilometres south of Sydney. The fire so fierce it melted the phone booth, leaving buildings in ruins. It's also torn apart the community, 2 local men losing their lives when the fire ripped through. Father and son Robert and Patrick Solway tried to defend their dairy property just out of town. Patrick's mother discovered the 2 men's bodies when she returned to the burnt-out property. Patrick's wife Renee posting a tragic tribute on Facebook. "I love you now, I love you still, and always have and always will. I will see you again, Patrick, my best friend." While conditions have eased, fires have had a heavy impact from as far north as Nowra and stretched down to the Victorian border. 1 man died near Lake Conjola, north of Ulladulla, found in a burnt-out car on a road off the Princess Highway. Another man found dead in a vehicle near Sussex Inlet. Ambulance officers finding 1 other body at Kalinga Light. 89 properties around Conjola Park were also destroyed in the devastating blaze. Further south in Batemans Bay, streets completely wiped out in Rosedale North, 15 homes there burnt to the ground. While the town of Mogo has been impacted, one bright spot amongst the fires, firefighters managing to protect its famous zoo and all its animals. The total number of properties destroyed is yet to be determined, as fallen trees and power lines hamper efforts. In the Bega Valley, the small town of Kwama has been hard hit. At least 5 homes destroyed, its church burnt to the ground. I've been speaking to residents in this town who stayed to defend their properties. They tell me that they were terrified to hear the roar of the wind and the fire coming across from the mountains. They say when they heard and saw this church going up, they simply did not think that they would be able to save their homes in this town. But many of them were able to do so, telling me that they stood here with shovels beating as embers came towards their properties. Water in this town was also cut off. They thought they would be able to hose down their houses, but there simply wasn't enough water or pressure in the system to do so. Residents left now to count the damage, with a long fire season still in front of them and dangerous conditions returning as soon as Saturday. Trudy McIntosh, Sky News.
And Stella Todorovic is at RFS headquarters. Stella, tourists on the south coast are being advised to leave as soon as possible.
That's right, Danica. It really is a race against time to try to get as many tourists out as possible before Saturday, when conditions will worsen once again. The RFS has issued a tourist leave notice, and Danica, it spans 250 kilometres. Anyone in the areas of Batemans Bay all the way down to the Victorian border being urged to leave as soon as possible in order to help with the flow of traffic and to help move people out. The Princess Highway has been reopened for a brief amount of time, and this extreme fire danger that's being forecast for Saturday will see temperatures soar back into the 40s once again, and these strong erratic winds will return. There are grave concerns that it's not only going to be as bad as New Year's Eve, but there are fears that it could actually be worse. Fire crews are using this brief reprieve, Danica, to try to get ahead of the fire front, but fire chiefs are warning that no amount of firefighters and resources will will be able to contain these fires before Saturday. There are currently 3 Watch and Act warnings in place for those fires burning on the south coast, 110 burning in total right across the state, and 50 of these are yet to be contained. And as we have been reporting for the last few months, it's going to be another tough few days ahead. There seems to be no end in sight to this bushfire season.